So, my fiancé and I had been planning our wedding for years. Seriously, we'd waited 3 whole years for this one incredible venue to become available. It was our dream. But then, last week, at a family barbecue, my sister, the notorious golden child, by the way, drops a bombshell. She's pregnant. Everyone's thrilled, of course. Lots of hugs, excitement. And then, right in the middle of all the celebration, she turns to me, in front of everyone, and asks if she can have my wedding venue. Because she thinks it's beautiful and, she just can't plan her own right now. My jaw practically hit the floor. This was our venue, the one we'd booked months ago. The air just went silent. Everyone expected me to just roll over and say yes. But I couldn't. I just couldn't. So, as politely as I could, I looked her dead in the eye and said, "As much as I love you, no. You're not having my venue."
And boom.
Total meltdown. She burst into tears, stormed off, the whole dramatic show. My nan, who usually has a soft spot for my sister, immediately swooped in. "You're being selfish," she snapped. "She needs it more than you do." I tried to defend myself, to explain, but then my mom chimed in with a line I'll never forget. "You waited 3 years," she said, her voice dripping with passive aggression. "Would it have killed you to wait a few more months? When has your sister ever asked you for something?" I was just speechless. My fiancé, bless his heart, could only take so much. He got visibly furious. We ended up just grabbing our things and leaving before he absolutely tore them a new one. The calls started immediately. First, my sister, still sobbing, telling me how unfair it was, how I always get what I want, how I could have done just this one thing for her. Then my brother-in-law called. He was genuinely apologetic, saying he'd talked to my sister and she'd promised him she wouldn't ask for the venue. He was properly mad at her, and he actually warned me that she was blaming me for potentially ruining his marriage. Can you even imagine? My father then barraged me with texts. 5 of them. All along the lines of, "I hope you're happy. Your sister hasn't stopped crying since yesterday." Enough was enough. My fiancé and I made a hard decision. My sister was out of the bridal party. We replaced her with my aunt, who, honestly, was the only family member who actually stood up for me. We even started questioning if we'd invite the rest of my family at all. But it got worse. My mom, in her infinite wisdom, decided to escalate things to a whole new level. She called my fiancé's parents. Yes, his parents. She told them it would be best if my sister got the venue because she was pregnant. You guys, my future father-in-law, a man of few words, essentially told my mom to F off star. He ripped her a new one for expecting something so ridiculous and warned them that they were going to lose me if they kept playing favorites. My mom, naturally, started crying too, calling my father-in-law a buttface. Honestly, it was just pathetic. It felt like something straight out of a bad soap opera. But in the midst of this chaos, my future in-laws were my rock. They drove over with supper and wine, told me not to worry and that no matter what, they would always be my safety net. And believe me, I needed that.
My sister kept at it.
Texts came in constantly berating me. "You're unfair. We're family." I asked nicely. "You should have my back." I was done. I sent her one last, very long text. I told her I was sorry she perceived it that way, but I was sick and tired of bending to her will my entire life. I reminded her of all the birthdays I had to share because she'd throw a tantrum if she didn't get presents. I reminded her of the time I filled out job applications for her because she was too lazy to write her own CV, and Mom supported her. But the thing that hurt most? "Remember how you ruined my graduation?" I typed. "How you said it wasn't fair I was getting all the spotlight. How you wore the most expensive dress, made your own cake, hung your own balloons, insisted on being in every single one of my pictures." I told her I was done. I admitted I'd spoiled her too, but no more. If she wanted to marry so badly before the baby was born, she could find another hotel. I'd spent too much time planning my wedding to just gift it to her. If she wanted to ruin our relationship over this, then fine. I would sleep soundly knowing it wasn't my fault. Her response? "Wow, you must love me so very much." And then she blocked me. But get this. She unblocked me the next morning just to forward an email from my wedding planner. It read, "Hello, dear. I got the message from your mother and will proceed with the rebooking of the venue on the spot. However, this will have extra costs as we have to change the names on the contract. Please come by my office tomorrow so we can sign the new contract." My parents hadn't even written to me since the whole father-in-law incident. They were trying to steal my venue. My older brother reached out, confused. Mom and Dad had told him I had offered to give up the venue and then humiliated my sister. I told him the truth, every single detail, and he believed me instantly. We talked for hours about our parents' behavior, and he even confessed that part of why he moved away was because of how they treated us. My mom had actually told him I was betraying my family. We immediately called our wedding planner. She was horrified. She told us she'd never spoken to my mother, and that even if someone called, I had to be present to make any changes. She assured us she'd inform all our vendors, and even offered to hire extra security for the day at a reduced price. The online harassment started next. My sister began a full-blown smear campaign on Facebook, posting passive-aggressive remarks, claiming I'd made her depressed. Her friends started messaging me, calling me a B** for how I was treating her. I blocked every single one of them.
And my sister.
But then, 2 days later, her best friend egged my car. I called the police. My neighbor, who has a notorious hobby of spying on everyone, was able to identify them. She's a grumpy lady, but surprisingly lovely when you get to know her. After days of silence, my parents finally called, wanting to talk things out. I was wary, but I agreed to meet them with my fiancé at our apartment. When they arrived, my mom looked like she'd been crying for days. And for 10 whole minutes, I actually felt bad for her. It turns out, my sister is just an a-hole. No medical history, no diagnosis, nothing. We chit-chat awkwardly for a bit, and then we finally got down to it. My father asked why we canceled the caterers. My fiancé, without missing a beat, said, "We didn't want you to have anything to hold over our heads." My dad acted offended, claiming he'd never do that. I cut in. "Better safe than sorry, Dad." My mom, predictably, called me disrespectful, and I shot back, "I could say the same about all the things you've said and done these past few days." The argument about the venue ignited all over again. My father started with his classic line, "It doesn't matter where you get married, it's who you marry." I took a deep breath. "Yes, Dad. Exactly," I said, looking him straight in the eye. "But isn't it weird how that only applies to me and not my sister? As long as she's marrying brother-in-law, it doesn't matter where, right?" The room went absolutely silent. My father was beet red, gasping for air like a fish out of water. My mom was quietly crying again. "Well," I pressed, "I'm waiting for your reasoning." My father slapped his hands on the table and launched into a tirade about family, sacrifices, and how a loving family should do what's in their power to make each other happy. I just looked at him. "Like how you tried to make me happy on my graduation day, Dad?" I asked. "You know, the time my sister smashed my cake because she wasn't in the limelight?" Silence again. My mother, barely a whisper, asked, "Why do you hate us so much?" And I just looked at her, truly heartbroken. I could ask you guys the same thing. They knew. They knew they had messed up, but they weren't ready to admit it. My mother tried to guilt-trip me again, saying my sister was miserable, hadn't gone out in days because people were judging her. My father went on a tangent about how my little sister just needed more time and attention because she was the youngest. Basically, excusing her horrible behavior. I finally told them how hurt I was, how I now saw their blatant favoritism, how they didn't even try to conceal the fact that they loved my sister more. My mom tried to deny it. "That's not true. We love you all the same." I wasn't having it. I pulled out my phone and opened a list. It was a list I'd been compiling in my head for years, a list of every time they'd put my sister before me. Some had dates, some were specific situations. I read every single point. By the time I finished, my parents were horrified, beet red, and close to tears. They tried to start explaining again, to tell me I was wrong, but I cut them off. This conversation is going nowhere, I said. You either set up family counseling for us and apologize to me, or you won't be invited to the wedding. They left. They haven't called since. After that meeting, my parents didn't budge.
I was still the bad guy.
I was responsible for my sister's depression and her failing relationship. It got so bad that I had to block them and change my number because they were contacting me from relatives' phones. It was a real bummer, especially during a time that should have been so special. The online harassment from my sister and her friends continued on every platform until I just deleted my social media entirely. It was mentally draining, but my husband's family, my friends, and my brother helped me get through it. I basically cut off every family member who had given me crap for keeping my wedding date. A few days before the wedding, my nan showed up at my door, begging to be allowed to come. We had a long talk, and she actually ended up apologizing, even though she still didn't quite see the logic in why I couldn't just switch wedding dates. But she promised not to pressure me anymore and just wanted to be there for me. We hugged it out. Our relationship isn't back to normal yet, but it's a start. The bachelor party was amazing. The food was delicious. My husband even made a beautiful 3-layered cake. And then, the wedding day. The morning was surprisingly relaxing until it was time to leave for the ceremony. We were at the venue, taking pictures with my friends, when I saw it. My sister's car, approaching. One of my friends immediately ran inside to get one of the security guards we'd hired. I really did not want another Hulk smash moment at my wedding. She was clearly seething, red-faced, and as soon as she saw me, she started screaming obscenities. Apparently, I was a filthy B*** who made her fiancé break up with her. She looked possessed. And honestly, for a moment, I just felt pity for her. Now, a little detail. The venue waters its plants with sprinklers every morning, so the ground was a bit muddy. What happened next was lightning fast. My sister bent down, started scooping up mud, clearly getting ready to launch it at me and my white dress. But before she could even wind up, my maid of honor, bless her heart, sprinted towards her and shoved her. My sister landed with a massive thud, but first, right into a flower bed. The security officer arrived seconds later and escorted her off the property. With that, I had all the ammunition I needed for a restraining order. I didn't even want to file a police report at that point. I just wanted her to stay away from me, permanently. The rest of the day. It was just amazing. I married my best friend, the love of my life, my absolute rock. My brother walked me down the aisle. We all cried during the vows. It was just spectacular. Of course, I missed my parents, but it is what it is. The celebration was incredible. My husband and his groomsmen even did a choreographed Taylor Swift dance, and the speeches could have been from a stand-up comedy club. After our honeymoon, we came back, and I knew I needed a clean break. I started looking for jobs in a different city. It was hard to think about leaving my friends, but I just felt like I needed a fresh start. I landed a new job at a university in a bigger city, and we're currently in the process of moving. But maybe the biggest, most cliché change of all? I'm pregnant. A classic honeymoon baby.